This week's episode was brought to you by Bethany Procalio Campo and Sig Void. Thank you, Bethany Procalio Campo and Sig Void. It's with the generous support of listeners just like you that we intrepid servers of sound sandwiches keep building big brain burgers for your mind mouths and fueling the Waffle House fight for your soul. If you'd like to become one of our illustrious supporters, please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 gets you access to not only our entire library of extended episodes, you'll get a 5x5 vinyl sticker of our cover art and the key card to our Discord server, which grants you above top secret level access to a network of astral espionage agents communicating from deeply embedded stealth positions inside the Black Iron Prison. In this episode, we push the mausoleum door open on the age-old belief in vampires and discover a common thread which links them all the way from Gary Oldman to Adam in the Bible. We discuss Vlad the Impaler, the Stryzga, the Strix, blood drinking, the Bible, Vampire the Masquerade, and other things too. In the extended show, we'll discuss vampire bats, night hags, real-life vampires, banes, human blood, and 2 traditional vampires from West Africa. Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Sounds like a good metal band name.
Filth Liquor.
Filth Liquor!
Are you guys ready for Filth Liquor?
Hello everybody, and welcome to The Whole Rabbit, where we don't just vanquish the invading horde of zealots from the opposing religious empire. Nay, we impale them with giant skewers and show them off to our friends like we're having a big Romanian kebab cook-off and scare them so badly that Francis Ford Coppola has to make a movie about it and portray you as a blood-sucking slumlord that won't let Keanu Reeves out of his lease because he's secretly sniffing his fiance's panty musk using astral projection and had intentions of becoming a lot more than pen pals, because this week we're discussing vampires, their origins, history, and why they hate God so much. I'm your host, Luke Madrid, the Hack Rabbit. I'm joined this week by the moon-howling mama, Mari-sama.
Awoo!
The maker of Mad Monsters, Malachor 5.
Negative. I am a meat popsicle.
And the blood babe of Babylon, Heka Astra.
Oh,
So Malachor, I heard you like vampires.
I do. I think they're really cool. Well, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about in this episode. Ever since I was a kid, seeing From Dusk Till Dawn, I always thought they were kind of creepy, and I fantasized about Salma Hayek sticking her foot in my mouth from a young age.
My mom let me watch a lot of stuff when I was a little kid, and maybe this podcast is evidence, but at some point, after explaining to me all the naughty bad things that I was about to see, she let me watch Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, which, as we all know, is amazing. I just wanted to be Gary Oldman with the really long arm to catch something whenever Winona Ryder dropped it, you know? That was my angle. But vampire lore goes back quite a bit further than the beloved pop cultural examples we are so familiar with today. As we'll see, many of the vampire's most iconic features have existed for as long as anyone can remember. Their human origin, a return from the dead, followed by a lust for human blood, which fuels their immense physical strength, the ability to transform at will, fly, hypnotize their prey, and most importantly, the vampire's ardent hatred of God and all his beloved creatures. Well, the origin story of Bram Stoker's Dracula seems to be a reimagining of the Aztec tale of Popocatépetl, recast as Vlad the Impaler of medieval Romania. A great deal of ancient vampire lore originates from this and surrounding areas of Eastern Europe. This is the most like Vlad the Impaler I could possibly look right now.
Oh, yeah, you totally do. You can be him for Halloween and, like, nail it.
My DNA is kind of, like, mostly from there.
Well, you know whose DNA is actually his?
No.
Who's a descendant of Vlad the Impaler?
Who?
The
Biden?
current and brand new King of England, your majestic King Charles III.
Damn, dude. They're all
Right.
inbred.
By right, that's his castle. He's the
Awesome.
noblest of his family's line. Yeah. So if you got questions about him being a vampire and doing some naughty things, well,
There you go.
it might run in the family.
So yeah, the story of Vlad the Impaler is actually pretty long and convoluted, and I don't really want to get into every detail, but a lot of the romanticized folk stories about Count Dracula are sourced from a medieval skirmish between the Ottoman Empire and the Hungarians. And it's a tumultuous story of slavery and betrayal that plays out over decades. So the original stories of Dracula are usually sourced from Vlad Dracula, and he was also known as Vlad III, the second son of the ruler of Wallachia, Vlad Dracul II. And the name Dracul was adopted from the Latin dragon, which was a symbol of the conquest of Christianity over the Middle East at the time. Like, pretty sure it was like Crusade times. Therefore, Dracula translates to son of Dracula, or basically son of the dragon, or of the dragon.
We just talked about the connection between the fish and the dragon in the Primordial Waters of the Abyss episode. Christianity really is a dragon cult. I'm convinced now.
Interesting, too, because a lot of the folklore from that area, you know, from like England and all that, and northwestern Europe, was a lot of like conquering dragons. So it's interesting that they take this as a moniker during the Crusades, as if it's like a symbol of might or terror. I think they used it to scare their enemies.
It's interesting to think that Christianity in its benevolent form is the fish, and then maybe in its malevolent form, it's the dragon.
Ah, makes sense. So Vlad Dracula the third was a real person who was enslaved and raised at a young age by Turkish Ottoman forces, and they're Muslim in belief. He fought with his family, seeing the death of his brother and cousin, to eventually become the ruler of Wallachia, which is now called Romania, and also a few parts of Hungary. However, his younger brother, Radu the Handsome, ended up the favorite yes man and perhaps concubine of the Ottoman Sultan Mehmed II, and this seemed to fuel a split between these brothers. During some exiles, he hid in the mountains of Transylvania away from the Ottomans, and likewise the Hungarians, which he kind of had a beef with both sides. He eventually built a fort there against the will of the Hungarian royalty, who banned him from doing so, and also the Ottoman Sultan. It was basically right up against the conflicting territory at the time, so it gave him a pretty good spot of like seeing the Ottomans coming from one side, but the Hungarians had banned him from building there. But he did it anyway. He also pleaded feudally to both sides, not only the Ottomans, but the Hungarians. So he was kind of like hedging his bets, in my opinion. Even later in his life, when he lost control of the throne, he fled to Transylvania again until he was forcibly converted from Eastern Orthodoxy to Catholicism. And then he joined the ranks of the Hungarian nobility officially at that point. He continued to fake out enemies and impale their citizens when they least expected it, to stave off the encroaching Muslim Ottomans. He often went as far as to throw feasts for holidays or special occasions, one of them most famously an Easter feast, only to lure unsuspecting enemy citizens and lock them in his keep to eventually murder them by skewering. Captured children were only spared occasionally to do hard labor building his castles and keeps before later being impaled like their late parents. This common theme of playing both sides and eventually backstabbing and betrayed those who he had charmed, only to impale them, soldier or citizen, in a gruesome display to demoralize and turn away any other enemies, is a perfect juxtaposition to the modern understanding as to what a vampire is. It's a person that poses as a human, but is instead an immortal or a noble, one who plays both sides and mercilessly impales and gores innocents to drive away their enemies. Anyone who trusts him and comes into his arm is betrayed and stabbed in the back, or rather in the neck with fangs, and they're drained of their vitality. Even the popular execution he used of impaling is using a dead body to demoralize those invaders who were still alive. And this kind of psychological warfare worked better than you can imagine, as he used it often. Even pregnant women were not safe from this execution style. Anything to establish the legend of his horrible power in order to drive away the Muslim invaders. Nothing was off limits, basically.
Yeah, Vlad's method of impaling was really gruesome. He, with the assistance of a physician, the stake would be carefully inserted into the anus, and it was positioned at an angle where it could avoid major organs and exit through the back of the person, which made for a really slow and excruciating death. And he impaled a lot of people, but also by comparison to how many the Ottoman Empire killed, it was way less.
While there are vampires from all over the world, the ones from Eastern Europe share a number of common threads, which connect them from Bram Stoker and Quentin Tarantino all the way back to ancient Greece, Rome, the Bible, and even Mesopotamia.
I heard Bram Stoker also did extensive research of vampire and werewolf folklore for his 1897 novel Dracula, and that some of that research included the works of an Anglican priest named Sabine Baring Gould from Exeter, England. And Sabine was a prolific writer. He had over 1,000 publications to his name. Actually, one of the He actually wrote the Christian hymn "Onwards, Christian Soldiers."
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, yeah, that's this dude, Sabine. So some of what he wrote, it also included historical accounts of werewolves and myths and studies. So as a nod to this priest that Bram Stoker had done a lot of research into his work, Bram Stoker ended up including Exeter in England, where this priest was from, as being the place where John Harker comes from.
Oh.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing to say that historically, if we look at this story Dracula at the date from that day on, the whole world's point of view and perspective on what a vampire is and definition of a vampire like literally changed. Like this guy did change the word. Like Hecka said, he did a lot of research. So I think in a lot of ways, he just romanticized these concepts of these stories and stuff. You know, like for example, many of the stories we're going to talk about, like, yeah, some of them did have like sharp teeth and stuff, but like a transforming fangs coming out of a human mouth, that's very werewolf-like. He looked into cryptids and he kind of did all the legwork for us and kind of is like a fictional podcaster back in the day and really did a good job in making it the whole idea of a vampire a cool thing because he netted in all these concepts.
Still pretty partial to Nosferatu as a character design.
I believe that's after Dracula.
Oh yeah, by far.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, you know, from Dracula, we get Nosferatu and we get everything we know in the modern day about vampires. Or so we think, because there's a lot of, and sometimes funny ways that these traits of vampires as we know them today came about in the ancient world.
And there's some unexpected twists and turns as well. To kind of dive into that area in Eastern Europe, our journey begins with a vampire of Slavish mythology, specifically the Polish version known as the Stryzga. Belief in a Stryzga is rooted in a number of older folk beliefs about spirits, souls, and the afterlife, which were popular in Eastern Europe. One such belief held that when somebody died, that one of their souls departed to worlds beyond, and the other stayed behind to watch over the family, usually by becoming a fixture of the family's domovoi, or household spirit, which acted as a figurehead or access point for the family's ancestral power, and was thought to reside in the household oven or stove.
That's kind of creepy.
This is Calcifer in Howl's Moving Castle, essentially.
It's the hearth. It's the spirit of the hearth.
Long after these ideas slid into antiquity, legend of the Stryzga and her two souls remained. Like most vampires, the Stryzga originated as a human, but is born with a few, mostly discernible abnormalities. These abnormalities included sleepwalking, 2 sets of teeth, being born with teeth, having 2 hearts, 2 souls, and most importantly, no armpit hair. Seriously.
2 hearts like a Time Lord?
Yes.
They're like, this kid's got 2 souls, kill him.
Basically.
So no armpit hair?
Yeah, they don't grow armpit hair. So if she has nice long armpit hair, you know you're not banging a vampire. Isn't that nice to know? Often dying young, the Stryzga, having 2 souls, sees one depart into the afterlife. The other stays with the corpse, which allows the body to reanimate and begin torment the living, as one would expect of a vampire. The reanimated Stryzga is possessed of the memories of its human life and quickly begins to torment those who wronged her before her mortal death. Like most vampires, Stryzga may transform into a flying creature, in this case, usually an owl, before turning into its true form and descending upon its victims. Although the Stryzga can subsist for a short while on animal blood, for her to maintain her supernatural strength, she must consume the blood of humans regularly. As the Stryzga ages and becomes more powerful, they become to appear more owl-like, eventually growing ferocious claws, owl faces, and long feathers. Killing a Stryzga usually involves the normal method of vampire disposal, such as decapitation, driving stakes into various body parts, lighting it on fire, or placing holy items in the mouth. Other methods include the playing of church bells, which would turn the Stryzga into tar, slapping it with the left hand, putting items inside its casket so it would get distracted counting, and most bravely, sleeping in the Stryzga's place of rest until daybreak, which would instantly kill her.
Hold on. If she doesn't grow armpit hair as she ages, does she grow feathers in her armpits? Like she gets more owl-like. I guess it'd be feathers.
That's after she dies.
Ah.
They're kind of like normal people as kids, but they usually die young for some reason.
So not only do these owl creatures count things in a chest, and we have owls counting how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop.
Oh no!
We also have the Count on Sesame Street stuck counting on a show for children for all eternity.
Oh no!
Is this where it comes from? Probably.
Interesting.
So I love vampires, right? And I also like the Goetic spirit Andros, who is an owl man. When these Lego pieces clicked together, I found that I couldn't take them apart. unless I bit into it.
Was there a Tootsie Roll?
It was a Lego Tootsie Roll, now that I think about it.
Some hard plastic. You gotta have vampire teeth to penetrate a Lego.
Yeah, I think the Lego remover piece looks like vampire teeth too. It's got like 2 prongs to slip under the piece and pop out yeah.
I thought it was interesting the Stryzga had all the trappings that we mostly associate with vampires. It has most of them.
It's just not dead, right? It just morphs. It ends up morphing.
Like in Bram Stoker's Dracula, this person has to die once and then they're born again as this immortal blood-drinking, feather-having, transforming super badass.
Oh, shit.
It's like all there. Well, not all of it, but most of it. The name for the Stryzga stems from an older Greek and Roman bird monster known as the Strix, which were usually depicted as large-headed, screeching owls, which rested with their head below their feet like bats. Strix was also known for squirting milk upon the lips of human infants, to which Pliny in his natural histories dismissed as nonsense.
Owl milk.
He was like, we cannot discern which bird would squirt its titty juice upon the baby. It's nonsense. How could we ever discover this bird?
It tastes like Ovaltine.
We should keep him around if that's the case. Besides fiendishly squirting milk, the Strix was known for feeding upon the blood of infants, scarring them irreversibly with their long claws, and was thought to be a living member of the community who had merely transformed. As such, Stryg or Stryzga might also refer to a witch. I had a book called Stryzga Nona as a kid. Merely seeing a Strix portended ill omen, not just for the self, but community as a whole. Merely seeing a Strix portended ill omen, not just for the self, but the community as a whole.
There's an owl that just moved into the hilltop where I live, and the community is pissed.
As we'll see, these memes have an even older origin. In Judeo-Christian mythology, the power of a vampire is derived from a pact or a deal with the devil. This means, first and foremost, a vampire is an enemy of God in a state of active, supernatural rebellion. So, who was the first vampire? If we consider Judean mythology, our answer goes all the way back to Adam in the Garden of Eden. Prior to creating Eve from Adam's side, which made them the same flesh, God had attempted making a companion for Adam from the same dirt he was created from, supposedly. But God and Adam rejected her. This, after all, was the explanation given by rabbis who had to answer for the discrepancy in Genesis between chapter 1 and 2 regarding the creation of humans, specifically woman.
Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them.
While Jewish scholars would refer to this woman as the first Eve and her subsequent rejection for the one created of Adam's flesh in chapter 2, the alphabet of Ben Sira names this first Eve as the baby-killing proto-feminist Lilith.
Lilith was like my first patron goddess.
Goth mommy of goth mommies.
I just thought it was cool that she was just like, nah, f*** you, gave Adam the finger and flew away.
Well, let's see what Ben Sira has to say about it, Laurie.
Oh, you want me to read more Bible?
Ben Sira.
Oh, okay. After God created Adam, who was alone, he said, "It is not good for man to be alone." Yeah, no kidding. He then created a woman for Adam from the earth as he had created Adam himself, and called her Lilith. Adam and Lilith began to fight. She said, "I will not lie below." And he said, "I will not lie beneath you, but only on top, for you are fit only to be in the bottom position, while I am to be in the superior one." Lilith responded, "We are equal to each other inasmuch as we were both created from the earth." But they would not listen to one another. When Lilith saw this, she pronounced the ineffable name and flew away into the air. Adam stood in prayer before his creator. "Sovereign of the universe," he said, "the woman you gave me has run away." At once, the Holy One, blessed be he, sent these 3 angels to bring her back. Said the Holy One to Adam, "If she agrees to come back, fine. If not, she must permit 100 of her children to die every day." The angels left God and pursued Lilith, whom they overtook in the midst of the sea, in the mighty waters wherein the Egyptians were destined to drown. They told her God's word, but she did not wish to return. The angel said, "We shall drown you in the sea." "Leave me," she said. "I was created only to cause sickness to infants. If the infant is male, I have dominion over him for 8 days after his birth, and if female, for 20 days. When the angels heard Lilith's words, they insisted she go back, but she swore to them by the name of the living and eternal God, "Whenever I see you, or your names or your forms in an amulet, I will have no power over that infant." She also agreed to have 100 of her children die every day. Accordingly, every day 100 demons perish. And for the same reason, we write the angels' names on the amulets of young children. When Lilith sees their names, she remembers her oath and the child recovers. I think that maybe this is another closely related reason why a lot of these faiths, especially like Catholics and Episcopalians, they baptize the baby as soon as it's born.
That holy water.
To me, I think you should choose to be baptized, but a lot of these faiths, they will protect the child at a young age because they're afraid, that they'll be taken by demons or sickness or whatever.
All the babies should be baptized to Liebach immediately. Lilith is mentioned in the Bible and described in a way fitting for Gary Oldman's estate in Bram Stoker's Dracula. Her nobles shall be no more, nor kings be proclaimed there. All her princes are gone. Her castle shall be overgrown with thorns, her fortresses with thistles and briars. She shall become an abode for jackals, a haunt for ostriches. Wildcats shall meet with desert beasts. Satyrs shall call to one another. There shall the Lilith repose, and find for herself a place to rest. There the Hoot Owl shall nest, and lay eggs, hatch them out, and gather them in her shadow. There shall the kites assemble, none shall be missing its mate. Look in the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall be lacking. For the mouth of the Lord hath ordered it, and his spirit shall gather them there. It is he who cast the lot for them, and his hands he marks off their shares of her. They shall possess her forever, and dwell from generation to generation.
Where is this?
Isaiah 34, Martin.
I was going to say it's also interesting that they mentioned the hoot owl and the kites. Kites are birds of prey. They're usually hawks, or they're not eagles. They're hawks.
I think they're a kind of falcon.
Well, hawks or falcon. I mean, I'm in the South. We have hawks.
Yeah.
Anyway, they've got some claws. They've got some talons. I know that Inanna, the Sumerian goddess Inanna, is also related to Lilith. So the symbol of the predatory bird is kind of an interesting one, and you have one of the night and also one of the day.
The classic depiction of Inanna, she has like owl feet.
Yeah, big old claws.
I think it's also an important thing here to say that the whole idea of a vampire being sexy and stuff like that and gentlemanlike shouldn't be confused. They are hunters. They are predators. That's something that I'm going to talk about later, but this echoes in the archetype of an owl.
References to Lilith in the Zohar include the following. She roams at night and goes all about the world and makes sport with men and causes them to emit seed. In every place where a man sleeps alone or in a house, she visits him and grabs him and attaches herself to him and has her desire from him and bears from him. And she also afflicts him with sickness, and he knows it not. And all this takes place when the moon is on the wane. So this idea of the vampire and the baby killer and the nighttime predatory aspect and being sexy all go back a long, long way. It's a really old idea.
Right. They are sexy and alluring and stuff, but it's for hunting. That's what I'm trying to say. Luke, you brought up some interesting points about a franchise that I'm very fond of, Silent Hill.
If you're a fan of Silent Hill 2, maybe even one that's heard our episode about it, I humbly suggest replaying or rewatching the final boss fight with the Stryzga, Strix, and Lilith in mind. Considering the opening sequence in the bathroom features 3 traditional Jewish angel symbols, which we mentioned earlier, to protect infants against Lilith, it seems to suggest the creator had these ideas in mind, even folding it into the game's deeper narrative.
Right, and the final boss even is hanging upside down, correct? And
oh, yeah.
It's shooting bats at you.
Well, the protagonist's name, James, derives from Jacob, which means supplanter. And what is he guilty of doing?
Killing his wife.
The first one he was given. Supplanting the first one he was given, which is exactly what happened with Lilith, which bears all the monsters that you're seeing in the game.
Lilith has a significant role in vampirism in the lore of Vampire the Masquerade, which is a tabletop role-playing game. If you've never heard of it, pretty fun. She has a cult that worships her as the original vampire. According to their beliefs, Adam tried to rape Lilith, or he did in fact, after which, when she spoke the ineffable name, he exiled her from Eden. The lore, it goes on to say that she wanders in the land of Nod, which is like this hellish dark place where it's really hard to see, and there's just like monsters everywhere and stuff, and there's like nothing there. And she's not like just like a regular mortal. She's like Adam. She's like a celestial almost. She's like of the essence of God directly. So it's at this time that Lilith, when she's wandering inside of Nod, the land of Nod, that she has affairs with Lucifer and Jehovah, and they both give her gifts of magic and knowledge of the gods, essentially, so that she can survive. And these gifts in the game lore would become the powers that vampires would eventually possess. They do credit her, this cult that follows her, credit her as the first vampire, as we just talked about. But there is like a whole bunch, the lore of Vampire the Masquerade's crazy. And they typically credit Cain as being the first vampire. So we fast forward after the war in heaven and Lilith banishing and kids are born and stuff. We fast forward to the first murder by the farmer Cain, which disgusted the fallen angels. So angels fell out of heaven. These are like proto-demons. They see this act and they're disgusted by it because they fell out from heaven because they wanted to teach humans magic, how to become gods, how to ascend and all that stuff. And God and the angels that were on God's side were like, no, they're not ready for that. In the lore, Solomon comes out and demons are in hell like for thousands of years, all like bored. And then one of them just vanishes and it's like one of the lesser demons. And he comes back and he's like, you guys are not going to believe what happened. Like this mortal summoned me. He was a magician. He knew my name. He knew the angels' names. And he was giving me orders like he was my boss or something. And the demons all like, wait a minute, we can leave this place. And like the archdemons are like, give these mortals knowledge of our names so that they can summon us and we can possess their bodies and be free of this hell. And that's a whole other game that's called Demon the Fallen. It's kind of cool. It exists in the same world. Anyway, demons are hating on humans because Cain killed somebody. You know, they didn't want this for humans. They wanted to make them better. Cain feels innocent in all this because he felt like killing his brother Abel was the best sacrifice he could muster up to appease the Lord, because the Lord kind of scorned him, was like, oh my God, you brought me fucking vegetables, you stupid ass vegan. Like your brother killed 30 cows or some shit. I forget, you know, exactly what's in the book, but like,
then I shall kill him.
Look at all this blood. Look at all this blood for me, and you bring me plants, you fucking bitch. And Cain gets really upset, so he felt compelled to, according to the lore, to kill his brother as the ultimate sacrifice. And God was like, dude, you up. How dare you?
It's like, I know that guy was a great hunter, but now I don't have a great hunter anymore. That was a shitty sacrifice.
He marks him and he banishes him to the land of Nod. And, you know, this is kind of like commentary on, you know, Cain and Abel story, the hunter versus the farmer. So according to the lore, the original vampire was truly a farmer, but saw that being a predator or a hunter is a right way to appease, to do the magic, to do the really fun stuff. So anyway, Cain is in Nod. He's all emo. He's crying. He kind of can't see nothing. It's all dark and it's scary. He's never experienced this kind of stuff before, but eventually he stumbles upon Lilith, and she can sense something is different about this mortal man, that like he carries this aura that's murder. And she sensed that this mortal had the power to kill, but not like a hunter as Adam did, or as his brother did, but to end life like Jehovah does, to have judgment over what, you know, from his position, just being mortal, ending this law of the land, you know, your life. How is it his right? Cain was hungry and he was cold, so Lilith fed him, and she gave him warmth and hearth and home and all that stuff. She taught him all this magic that she learned, and she told him that she was Adam's first wife, kind of fell in love, and, you know, things kind of fell out. And upon learning all this stuff from Lilith in the lore of the game, which I think, if you want to talk about vampires in reality, if you believe this stuff, why not accept this? Because it's kind of close to the Bible. It's probably how it would have went down if you made a soap opera about it. She hesitantly teaches him all the magic and stuff, but in order to activate the power, she gives him a bowl of her own blood to drink. So this is kind of where the tradition of drinking blood comes in for the game. And after Cain drinks this, he kind of passes out and he starts having all these crazy visions because he drank some fucking period blood. And he's soon visited by 3 archangels, and they each offer him a chance to repent and to be forgiven by God, but he refuses them all. Michael curses Cain and his children to fear flame. Raphael curses them to fear the dawn. Uriel curses them to cling to the darkness, to feed only on blood, and to taste ashes, which means like when anything they try to enjoy, to ingest, it would just taste like crap, and to be forever stuck at the age of death, and cursed so that everything that they try to do in their own life, it falls apart, and they're, you know, a true curse. And finally, Gabriel appears to Cain and offers him a way to redemption should he realize it. It's a path called Golconda, which is a lot like the HGA and the Crossing the Abyss thing in the Golden Dawn tradition. They really did a lot of research for that game. They talk about Enochian stuff, and, you know, they use actual demon names. You can learn a lot from the game.
I think we've made a good case that a lot of the vampire fiction we're into is well researched and has mythological and religious basis. I think it's interesting the prolific connection with owls. In conspiracy culture, the elite are often associated with owls. They feed on the young, even vampirically, aligning themselves against God, and more or less act as the parasitic class against the cattle class, which is what we are. The sheep, the cows, the food. We're the food.
The ba.
Bah.
Ma. Brr, bah, brr. Can you guys think of any other reasons why the owl would be associated with vampires? Or eating babies?
In ancient Egyptian, the owl is associated with death as well.
That's spooky.
They're night birds.
And they kill and they eat it.
Yeah, and then they cough up pellets, which are made out of fur and bones.
Oh, man.
Yeah, owl pellets are cool.
Yeah, they are. You can find some cool stuff in them.
I remember dissecting one in school.
Yeah, me too.
That's cool.
I occasionally find them for sale in the weird shops.
It's like to
buy an owl pellet?
It's like a goodie bag. Sometimes you find a skull in it.
It's cool, yeah. You can. It's like a surprise. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Like a loot box.
Yeah.
Taxidermy shops are not common in Los Angeles.
So owls invented loot boxes. It's starting to make
Yeah,
sense.
it's like a little surprise bag of bones.
They would have called them hoot boxes if they knew what they were doing.
Oh, my man.
What about some other vampiric animals?
What about a bat?
So,
What about your mom?
we're talking about vampires here, and if you ever wondered what the scientific term for a life form that lives off of solely blood, the word is hematophagy.
Hematophagy.
There's a couple animals and bugs, whatever you want to call those sub life forms, that drink blood and live off of humans.
Sub life forms. Whew.
I don't like mosquitoes.
Yeah, I feel like we should have come up with some way to make them extinct by now. But no, scientists say that they're part of the biome.
I mean, they've been around a really long time. They date back to the Triassic period. That's 250 to 200 million years ago. So they were definitely feasting on some dinosaurs.
Dino.
Kind of a fun fact, only female mosquitoes bite.
So when they bite you and you smack it, you can say, and you'll
Yeah.
always be right.
The male mosquitoes won't bite you. It's only the female mosquitoes that bite. And then the reason why that is because they need the protein from the blood for egg production.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah, they can drink up to 3 times their entire body weight in blood each meal.
To be fair, the association with vampires is mostly feminine or female in mythology, and it goes all the way back to Lilith.
Which is kind of interesting too, because it is actually true that full moons do increase mosquito activity. Part of the reason for that is because of their senses. So they rely on more light and smell as well, but they're more active during the full moon because there's more light. So mosquitoes are also more attracted to some people over other people, and it has to do with individual body chemistry as well, like lactic acid in your sweat. They're attracted to the carbon dioxide in your breath and your body heat. So you know how some people will get bit a lot more than other people? That's why. There's just more attractants.
I've been in a sulfur hot spring where one person is just being attacked nonstop, and then the other person is completely being ignored.
Yeah, mosquitoes, they don't pay a whole lot of attention to me. I'm usually the last to get bit.
They
Same
freaking
for-
love me.
Same for me. I don't get bit.
Asked my
Same.
parents why I get bit all the time when I was a kid, and they said, you got sweet blood.
They just don't like me. And I always assumed that maybe it was because I'm extremely anemic, but yeah, I don't know. They just don't like me.
I think it's because I have a layer of reptilian scales all over my body and they can't penetrate it.
Okay, so when they do go to feast, they first inject blood thinners, and those blood thinners are called anophelins, and they inject those into the host so the blood can flow more freely into its tiny little proboscis. So it's because of that injection prior to the feeding that mosquitoes are also vectors for bloodborne illnesses and communicable diseases like malaria and West Nile.
So they backwash.
Well, I mean, when they go to inject you with the anophelins, there's a chance that there's going to be genetic stuff from the last person that's also coming out. With it.
Also always wondered too, you know when you smack one and they explode with blood on your leg or whatever?
Ugh.
Mhm.
It's like, dude, is that all my blood or is it something else's blood?
It's a dirty needle party.
Gross.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. I don't know who wrote this.
I think it's interesting when a creature stops evolving because they've maximized their design concept so well they don't need to anymore.
They just got smaller. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's the same thing for like crocodiles and alligators. Like they just got smaller. That's why they scare me.
I think there's something beautiful about a creature that makes it to that point in their evolutionary trail. They just like make slight adjustments, like tuning their Honda.
We good.
Oh, I'm still perfect, just smaller.
There's also leeches. There's the European medicinal leech, Hirudo medicinalis, and that's one of several medical leeches that are still used today as well in the industry.
Yeah, it's not just some old wives' tale. Historical accounts, they were using it for the wrong reasons, but it does work.
Yeah, bloodletting, and they use leeches to suck the bad blood out.
So they used them for some of the right reasons and a lot of the wrong reasons.
True.
But yeah, medical leeches, they have 3 jaws and there's 100 teeth that kind of resemble saws. And those teeth are used to incise the host. And they make little like Y-shaped, because there's 3 jaws, they make little Y-shaped cuts. And once they've cut you, they inject anticoagulants to suck the blood, kind of like the mosquitoes do. So adult leeches, they can consume up to 10 times their body weight per feeding, and they can live for up to a year between their meals.
Yeah, that's something crazy about these blood things. They can go a long, like a snake, they can go long times between feeding periods.
Yeah, that's like high efficiency in nature.
Super nutritious blood fluids.
So like you guys were saying, historically, leeches, they've been used for medical treatments since 1500 BC. They go all the way back to Egypt. So yeah, many different cultures have used leeches to treat a variety of illnesses, from sciatica and skin diseases to spiritual reasons. Like medieval monks would use bloodletting to decrease the heat of desire.
Oh.
Like, oh,
Where would they put the leech for that, do you think?
Whoa!
You know some idiot put a leech on their junk. Just saying, for medical experimentation.
You're a monk. You're not supposed to be horny. Go get a leech.
Go to horny jail. Do not collect $200.
Can you imagine actually thinking your horniness is Satan and you can never jerk off ever? And
Because you got leeches on your dick.
Look at all the Y's on that dick.
he is the horny monk.
So we do still use medical leeches today in the medical industry, and that kind of treatment is also known as hirudotherapy. And hirudotherapy, it's used for treatment of several different conditions. We use it for blood circulation restoration, and that would be for skin graft areas or reattached fingers and other reconstructive surgeries. It basically helps the blood to flow to that area, and that's because of the anticoagulant that the leeches inject from their saliva. They have it in their saliva. So the reason for the continued use of leeches is because of hirudin, and that's the fundamental peptide that contains the coagulant properties that's in the saliva of the leeches. And because leeches produce such tiny amounts of hirudin, it's not really feasible to harvest or to produce it on a larger scale for the industry. So it just makes more sense to use lab-grown leeches for the few occasions in which they're actually needed.
I've heard of medical maggots that are used to eat dead flesh, which can be very helpful depending on the situation.
It's more accurate than somebody going at it with like a scalpel.
Because they ignore the living flesh and they just eat the dead flesh.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, like, among this class of disgusting pests like bed bugs, ticks, and fleas, these gross motherfuckers, they're a real nuisance if you've ever had to deal with any of these. I hope not ticks or bed bugs, especially.
No.
Fleas, I'll take forever over the other two.
I've had a tick. I have a scar on my back from when I had a tick. Way back in grade 9.
Did it get stuck?
I was on a Sea Cadet camping trip. There were other Sea Cadets on a Sea Cadet camping trip, and I was at the barracks for the weekend doing a band thing. I was in Sea Cadet band, and the people who on the camping trip, they got rained out. So they came back to the barracks, and I guess they brought ticks with them. So I woke up the next day and there was some weird lump I could feel on my back. And I went and I looked, tried to figure out what it was in the mirror in the bathroom, and it was a tick. So I removed it and flushed it down the sink, and now I have a scar from it.
Ouch.
Yeah, they bury their head inside your skin when they're feeding. Yeah. So a lot of times their head will break off and stay inside, which is disgusting. Ugh.
You have to turn it. You have to rotate it to get it come out.
You guys ever hear of the kissing bug?
No.
Yeah, those are gross.
Yeah, they're kind of similar. They look more like a stink bug, and they have like stripes on their abdomen. They've got like big wings and shit, but they have this giant proboscis. And so when apparently you fall asleep, the reason they're called the kissing bug is because they come and feed from around your lips.
Yeah.
Ugh, and they're like
Yeah.
more of a subtropical type of parasite.
I think in that kind of general gross factor area, there's also bot flies.
Ooh.
I don't
Well-
know if you guys know about bot flies, but they can like bury into you and they'll lay their egg inside of your skin.
There's something very similar pertaining to bed bugs specifically, to keep it in the house of
Oh.
blood.
Gross.
The way bed bugs mate, it's scientifically known as traumatic insemination.
That's cool.
What?
It's another metal band name.
It sure is. This is exactly as it sounds.
God.
The penis of the male bed bug is a spike, and it penetrates the abdomen of the female bed bug like a spike.
Like an impale. Like it's impaling her.
Yeah, it impales her,
Oh my
and
god.
it implants the seed in her through these methods, and she lives to tell the tale and becomes pregnant and lays eggs.
That is so
and
fucking gross, man.
They are fucking gross, these fucking
I'm
creatures.
sorry.
Way to bring it back to old Vladdy, though.
Yeah, I had to talk about this. I hate
That's
these
like-
fucking bugs. God damn them. They're just
I
gross.
have never had them, but they are one of my biggest phobias because I have a textile and leather business from home.
It's
That's
like
how I make my money. And I just am mortified that they even exist.
it's like God's evolutionary blueprint is like, no, female bed bugs aren't going to have a cavity for you to enter peacefully. What ends up happening is just gross modification. I think God was even like, no, this can't exist. This can't exist in my universe. But then nature finds a way, and it's just like, you know what? We're just going to rip and tear through. Disgusting. That's why I want an all concrete house with flamethrowers and snap freezing nitro or nitrogen freezing capabilities. For one, I don't want to clean. If I leave a mess, I can just burn everything. And two, fuck all these pests.
You're smart.
And a hole in the ground that has a drain so I can just like shower with the water hose.
You know what I do? I leave the spiders in my house.
Yeah, I leave them alone.
The amount of spiders you would need to deal with a bedbug infestation would mean you'd probably be terrified of
I have a-
your own.
I have a lot of spiders in my house.
She lives in Vancouver. It's just crazy.
Spider Queen.
Dude,
Anyway,
it's just all spiders here. Spiders are interesting too, though.
they are. They
'Cause
suck.
Yeah, I mean, they're not technically bloodsuckers because they don't just suck out like blood, they would suck out everything. Like when they catch something, they cocoon it and they inject their venom into it, and that venom liquefies all of its innards, and it basically becomes like a smoothie inside of a cocoon for it to suck out later.
Delicious sauce.
I will straight up catch and release spiders into my home as opposed to take them out.
They just see another bug and they're like, you're like a little jelly sandwich, aren't you? Little jelly donut.
I love smoothies.
Yeah.
But bats drink blood too.
And if you'd like to hear the rest of the episode where we talk about vampire bats, hunting vampires, banes, vampire powers, African vampires, blood, magic powers, and modern day vampires and people who think they're vampires, please visit www.patreon.com/thewholerabbit, where your monthly donation of just $5 will get you access to our entire library of extended episodes. I'll send you a 5x5 vinyl sticker of our cover art and the secret keys to our Discord server. Thank you, everybody. Eat carrots and shoot lasers.